Today is a great, wonderful, amazing, incredible day, and I'll tell you why, because it's a Germany day. Why I'm embarrassed to be German. Without further ado, let's get into this reaction. Let's go.
I thought I'd say this, but I'm embarrassed to be German. Things are going seriously wrong here in Germany, and I want to talk about this because I think from the outside it's not all that obvious yet. I've had many people from overseas asking me, what happened to your country? It didn't used to be that way. And
I have no clue what she's talking about. This is not the perception that I've heard from people in England. We don't say what happened to Germany, is something wrong with Germany. Actually, we just see Germany as prospering and doing pretty well. So I'm interested to see what she's gonna say. Yeah, interesting.
That's right. Germany's not the well-functioning, environmentally super-conscious, high-tech nation it used to be. You go to a train station, half the trains are cancelled, the other half's delayed, the escalators are broken, the announcements are barely audible, and in the unlikely event that you can connect to the Wi-Fi, it's so slow that by the time the news is streaming, it's become a historical documentary. Or maybe it's quantum Wi-Fi.
That's savage. By the time the internet connects, the news is history. That's actually quite funny. It sounds like what she's complaining about is very much what we complain about in the UK. So is it really that bad? But the train situation in England is terrible. I don't know about Germany. It sounds like you're in a similar situation, but it's funny.
It collapses the moment you touch it. Okay, I'm exaggerating. It's not always and everywhere that bad. But it gives you an impression something's wrong. And it's not just the railway. The German government has made a long sequence of bad decisions about our infrastructure and technological development. As a consequence, this country is slowly but inevitably falling behind technologically, and because of this, also economically. The world just isn't appropriately afraid of us anymore. For example, I have a British friend who lives in a tiny village with like 150 inhabitants somewhere in the English countryside. They don't even have a gas station. I mean, petrol. But they've got fiber optic cable. I, meanwhile, live in one of the most industrialized regions of Germany, and I've been trying to get fiber optics for years, unsuccessfully. I still sit on 150 megabits per second copper cables. They have...
What? I've heard this, Germany. Guys, I've heard this about your country, and that your internet is very slow, very basic, and very behind. I mean, I hope you're able to watch this video without it buffering. I'm sure you can watch YouTube, otherwise you guys will be watching me. But I think that is an issue, and that would be an issue for me, because obviously I do YouTube videos, and I upload really big files. And I think living in a country that doesn't have fiber optic internet, fast speed, it would make my productivity when it comes to like putting up videos really difficult. That's an issue. I would have a problem with that. But let me know from an actual German person. Let me know how bad the situation with the internet is. Do you find it difficult to, I don't know, stream YouTube, stream Netflix, Disney Plus, or whatever you guys have over there, or download, I don't know, files? Let me know how difficult that is for you, and if it actually is an issue, or actually is your internet adequate enough for your daily needs? Because she's saying it's terrible. So that's interesting. But she's actually absolutely correct about her friend who lives in the countryside in England. England's very well connected when it comes to the internet. Very well connected. I think we started very early with wiring underneath the ground and making sure that, you know, all cities and towns have access to fast internet, because that's the age we're living in. So yeah, hopefully you guys are sorting that out, because that's an issue.
Have faster internet on the International Space Station. And I consider myself lucky, because if you go a few kilometers down the street, they have 5 megabits per second on a good day. Yes, that's right, 5 megabits per second internet in central Germany. Germany has the second lowest fiber optic cable coverage in the European Union. Only
Wow. Okay. All the way down there. EU 27 plus UK. What does that mean? We're not that high. I mean, we're higher than you. We're way higher than you. Oh wait, UK is there. What does that mean? I don't know. But yeah, we're higher than you.
Only place that's worse is Belgium, a country which half of the time doesn't even have a government. The state of the German internet is pathetic. We've also been slow to switch to electric vehicles or heat pumps. The German reputation for being particularly environmentally friendly has been buried in a biodegradable coffin because we like to pretend. At the moment,
She's funny. I think there is a bit of a juxtaposition when it comes to uh, Germany as we know it as the environmentally friendly, conscious country, Greta, empowering the nation to be more conscientious when it comes to recycling and the environment. And I think the juxtaposition comes into play when we think of Germany as the vehicle country, the place where cars are made reliably and strong, machineries, the autobahn, petrol, gas is so important, vehicles that go fast. You know, you guys love your cars. And I think I think because of that, um yeah, it's electric vehicles. I think it's going to take some time before those are adopted. Even though you are the environmental country out of the European countries, you're also the country that loves gas and sports cars and cars that go fast. And electric vehicles are not quite there yet. Not quite there yet. Some fast electric vehicles, it's just charging and let's not get it started. They're just not as well equipped as vehicles that run on gas. So I can understand why you haven't adopted them yet.
it's something that we joke about inside the country, how crap things have become. Like a recent commentary in a major German newspaper about the malfunctioning German railway that was a disaster during the European Football Championship. The author concluded with saying, well, the most environmentally friendly train is one that doesn't go. Or the guy who bought an electric vehicle and couldn't find a charging place that actually worked, who concluded that if you buy an electric vehicle in Germany, also buy a dog so that you don't have to walk home.
Alone. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. This is exactly what I was saying about electric vehicles. They of course you're not going to adopt them because the facilities aren't there, the charging facilities are not there. Like if you drive somewhere probably like in rural Germany and your car runs out of battery, you're kind of fucked. Whereas if petrol stations are everywhere.
Alone. Yes, it's funny, but you see, humor, especially sarcasm, is a way to cope with problems that we can't solve. Because why face reality if you can mock it instead? Which is why
This is what we've got in common. This is why we're very similar as countries. We also do the same thing. We also take the piss out of our country and the failings of our country. But as much as we like to make a joke out of it, it's not funny, and we need to do better. It's just
looking
how
at
it
the
is.
jokes people make is a good way to find out how healthy their country is. What do the Brits joke about?
Well, he wants net migration to be at zero. Well, I want a bigger dick. And it's not a policy, is it?
See, that's how a healthy country looks like. What went wrong in Germany? There are many factors that played a role, but I think one stands out. What happened with the German railway, for example, is that the government privatized it in 1994. The
God,
so-called
same as us.
privatization converted the previously nationalized company into a stock company. The share of stocks owned by the state is 100%. That's some privatization, don't you think? In the same spirit, I really encourage you to watch whatever YouTube channel you like, so long as it's mine. But really, this pseudo-privatization isn't the main problem.
Oh, so you
The
guys
main
didn't
problem
actually.
is that the German railway is financed mainly by state subsidies and was grossly underfunded for almost 2 decades. A lot of necessary repairs and upgrades weren't done.
So wait, hold up. So it was privatized, but still it's owned 100% by the government. That doesn't even make any sense. Is it just so that they can make more money, but not do anything with the railways? It's weird because ours is privatized, but it's not owned by the government. It's privatized. It's sorry, our train network is worse because it's privatized, but it's owned by multiple different entities, multiple different train companies, and it's terrible. And because of that, the prices of it's cheaper for me to get a flight from Leeds Bradford Airport, which is near from where I live, to probably Hamburg, probably Berlin, than it is to get a train from where I'm from to London. Make that make sense. It's because our train system is fucked. And it sounds like yours is as well. Excuse my French. Or excuse my German.
Our trains are now
Scheiße.
so advanced, they've mastered time travel. You board in 2024 and arrive in 1995. They're now trying to fix this, which is why there are constructions going on in half the country, and that's what's causing the constant delays. I've arrived at the point where I'm glad if a train is delayed, because that means at least it's going. Though I got even more lucky last time I attempted to take a train because the drivers went on strike and I had to go 800 kilometers by car. I got 2 speeding tickets, thanks for asking. The internet problems have a similar cause: lack of investment at the time when it was necessary. Instead of switching to fiber optics long ago, the German government supported upgrading the existing copper cable connections. Big.
I hate when governments do that. Do you not hate that? Oh, I hate, and governments like doing that a lot, you know, because I think about that with my city of Leeds. I think we're the largest city in Europe without a mass transit system. So without like trams or railways or underground in our city. There's no, the only transport we have is our buses. And instead of them, they have many plans to upgrade the system to have a tram service. They spent millions on planning to get a train system in a mass transit system in my city. They like, oh well, we can just use that money to upgrade the bus services. We can create more bus lanes. They do everything. They skirt around everything without actually fixing the issue. I hate when governments do that. And it's just like in Germany, and they've said to you guys, oh yeah, there's this fiber optic thing, but we can just upgrade what we've got already. We don't have to spend money on that. And because of that, now you guys are behind when it comes to the internet. Where one thing I will say, well done to the UK, is that as soon as fiber optic was available, there was investment to make that widely available in every part of the country. I don't know why they got internet, they understood the internet and were like, yeah, we're going to be a part of that. But with the railway service, they just I don't know. Governments always do that. They get some things right and they get some things completely wrong. Yeah, don't you just hate that? I hate that.
Mistake. They're now trying to fix it, but we're far behind. Same
Yeah.
problem with the switch to electric vehicles or renewables. The Germans were too slow to make decisions. And that's the common theme here. The Germans are too slow. Germans are stereotypically thorough and pay attention to detail and do everything very, very precisely. Yes, it's a stereotype, but I think it's mostly true. I mean, it's why you subscribe to this channel, right? Because I can't stand it if I'm 5 pixels off the middle of the screen. German precision. This dedication.
She's really funny. And now I'm looking at her screen. I'm like, oh, she's quite symmetrical. She's actually in the middle of the screen. Well done. I kind of love the German thoroughness of it all. You're what we call in England as busybodies. A busybody. That's a term. I don't know. I think we all say it in the UK. Yeah, for someone who's like very involved in other people's business, I feel like German people are very much that. You're very concerned with everything being efficient. What are they doing over there? That's not how you do it. I'm going to tell them how you do it. Excuse me, that's not how you do it. This is how you do it. That's very German. I kind of like it. I kind of think it's annoying, but I like it at the same time. I love the efficiency. I can't wait to go to Germany. I think I'm gonna have like a good time. And I think Germans, I think you guys have good banter as well. I think you're very similar to us. You're very similar to Brits. Just a bit more curt, maybe, but very, very similar to Brits.
To thoroughness and precision is why the German industry is renowned for high quality products. It's also in the past
True.
saved us from a lot of follies, like the dot-com bubble, supersonic flights, Sedgeways, spray cheese, you name it. Those were all cases where let's wait and see saved Germany time and money. But the
Right.
world is now changing so fast that let's wait and
And
see is
see.
no longer a good strategy.
Exactly. Yeah, that might have worked in the past for Germany for you guys, but now it's you can't wait and see. You need to be the first mover. There's such thing as first movers advantage in everything you do. Like for example, I do reaction videos on YouTube. I watch certain videos. If I watch a video that another YouTuber has watched, like say what's his name? Ryan. I'm sure some of you guys are subscribed to Ryan. If he reacts to something before I react to something, that means you guys might have watched his video already and he's already seen it. So when you see mine, it's like, well, I've already seen that video that and Ryan did it. So I It's important to be the first mover. The first person that reacts to that video tends to get all of the views. That's the same with everything in society. Like if you're the first person to do it, you're more likely to be ahead. And we're living in a society that is quicker and quicker and faster. And if you don't get with the program, you'll be left behind. So hopefully, Germany, you're changing and you're realizing we're living in 2024 where things move very fast.
A good illustration for how German thoroughness can get in the way is what they call Technologieoffenheit over here. In English, that'd be technology openness, and it basically means that the government throws tax money at any idiotic idea they can find. It's basically
Really?
let 1,000 flowers bloom, except that most of them are psychedelic mushrooms. For example, those electric highways that I talked about a while ago, the one where the test project cost 150 million euro for 20 kilometers and was used by a total of 9 trucks, most of them were usually out of service for repairs. The idea of the electric highway is that trucks can recharge electric batteries from overhead cables while driving. It's a
Okay.
nice idea in principle. In practice, the problem is, there are no power lines alongside highways. It's cheaper and faster to swap batteries in gas stations. That's the fast answer anyway. But the Germans are thorough, so they test and evaluate, and I'm sure that in as little as a decade or so, they'll come to agree with what I just told you. We should also consider bringing back the horse and buggy, just to be thorough. And I haven't yet even mentioned the biggest idiocy of this technology openness, which was to phase out nuclear power and bank on a non-existing hydrogen economy. You see, Germany has a lot of energy-intensive industry that's very difficult to decarbonize. About 80% of the energy in Germany still comes from fossil fuels. The obvious way to get off fossil fuels is nuclear power. I say it's obvious because the technology exists already, we know that it works, and it would get the job done. But is it really the best way to decarbonize? Maybe not. And this is where the German thoroughness gets in the way, because the German government thinks that if there was a hydrogen economy, then it'd be better to use that instead of nuclear power. Hey, if
Okay.
pigs could fly, maybe they'd be more carbon friendly than airplanes. The German government has this crazy idea that we'll store energy from renewables and hydrogen, which can then later be used for energy generation. The problem is, as I've explained in several previous videos, hydrogen is difficult to deal with and inefficient as storage.
Okay.
I think it'll be much more expensive than projected and make no commercial sense. And
I don't know much about energy and renewable energy, but I do know we in the UK, I think our focus is on, in terms of renewable energy, windmills. Windmills. I think we're the leader. The UK are actually the leading country, along with, I want to say Norway, when it comes to producing windmill energy. we're really investing a lot into that. But we're an island and we're able to because we've got so much water and places we can um, build windmills offshore. So offshore windmills is where we're leaning in because there's more wind, there's more energy, and that's what we're doing. I don't really know much about hydrogen and all those other chemical processes, but yeah, that's how we're tackling it. Anyways, back to the video. I don't know about the rest of
That's
it.
why I expect the hydrogen bubble to burst in the next 5 years because 90% of the planned projects will not come into existence. It's
Right.
also quite ironic if you know that the explosion you see in the footage from the Fukushima accident is a hydrogen explosion. Now, you might
Oh
say
God.
Sabine doesn't know anything and the hydrogen economy might come along just fine. Fair enough. But do you really want to bank the future of an entire country on the possibility that a so far non existing part of the economy will come into being within 10 years? Seriously? Even if you are willing to take that risk, how many companies do you think are willing to take it?
Hmm.
All these hydrogen powered plants can also be run on methane, aka natural gas. If this hydrogen business doesn't work out, Germany will get stuck on fossil fuels, and that's becoming increasingly unappealing for investors. I think the German government is making a big mistake. Banking on hydrogen is really a delay game. It tells us that they believe climate change will magically go away. They're slow to realize that we can't avoid decarbonization, and the more we delay it, the
Yeah.
more this country will go downhill. And
I'm surprised that your government's like holding on to this, these energy, these inefficient. That word in Germany shouldn't go together, and you're holding on to hydrogen when there's other ways of generating energy, and that's the way the world is going. That's the way the world has to go. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what you're gonna do. Um, I'm surprised though. I'm surprised. Maybe that's why Greta is just blue in the face when she's like telling your government off because she's like, "You're doing it the wrong way."
that's why I'm embarrassed to be German, because the Germans are so slow. I said I never expected to say this. I said this not because I think so highly of Germany, but because I've never identified much with Germany in the first place. I've never been proud to be
Really?
German, so why be embarrassed? Because I
She says she's never been proud to be German. There's a lot to unpack with that. There's a lot to unpack with that. Because I've heard that a lot in England as well. Again, and it's something we really have in common. Like Germany and England, we have a lot in common. A lot of British people would say, "I am not proud to be British," or "I'm not proud to be English." Um, yeah, and I think it has a lot to do with the fact that we don't have the same way. We don't look at our countries the same way as America does. America has a very united kind of. Well, right now it's not united because of Donald Trump, and let's not get into that. But I mean, united as in as a country, they think highly of themselves. They really are very proud of America and the American dream and all that type of stuff. But I feel like we're more pessimistic in Western Europe. Very pessimistic in the UK, Germany. We just kind of like, yeah, we're shit. We don't do things good enough. Like we're very harsh on ourselves, and I don't know. It's sad, isn't it? I think we should be proud of our countries, but we're just not. I don't know where that stems from. And do you know what I heard? That a lot of it stems from like the war. And it's interesting. Obviously, we both were involved in the war, and they say the UK is that way because you know Brits don't want to get their hopes up because when they get their hopes up, shit can happen like a war and evacuations and people dying and concentration camps. Happy times. When there's happy times, there's really sad times, and you can't be too happy because something bad might happen. And I think that trauma, that post-war trauma, is in the fabric of society in the UK. And I think that post-war trauma is also in the fabric of society in Germany as well, which would make complete sense. I mean, you were split down the middle. You went through hell during that time. People went through hell during that time, during the war. And I think that has ingrain this kind of pessimistic, a little bit negative attitude towards our countries, and not kind of feeling proud. Does that make sense? I just said a theorizing that in my head. I just think, yeah, that's the reason why we're not proud as people from those countries. Whereas America, we're like, "Rah, America, USA, USA." They're very proud, but we're just not. In fact, we take the piss out of ourselves for being German or British. Like, yeah, it's interesting.
Feel like I could have done more. Maybe I should have studied something more useful than theoretical physics. Maybe I should have gone into politics. Maybe I should just have
I
been
could
a
see the
little
politician.
bit louder. So here I am, trying to be a little bit louder. Really, I just want people to be afraid of my German accent again. That was a bit depressing, wasn't it? If you need something to cheer yourself up, have a look at Planet Wild. Planet Wild is a community funded nature protection group. They restore
Ah,
ecosystems and change the world for the better, one mission at a time. And you can become part of their community for as little as $6 a month. Each month, Planet Wild embarks on a new mission, which they document with videos right here on YouTube.
I normally don't watch adverts. I mean, watch sponsored stuff. But this is a charity, and it's like they're doing really good work, so I'm gonna watch it.
Whether
Let's
it's
watch it.
planting trees, reintroducing animals to forests where they once thrived, or using drones to study blue whales, Planet Wild is making a real difference for nature preservation. In their latest mission, they're using advanced tech to find and save a lost frog species in Ecuador. Planet Wild walks the walk, where others just talk the talk, and you can help them. Visit Planet Wild through the link in the description or scan the QR code to learn more.
I love that. I love that. I used to work for a charity. I've worked for various charities actually, quite a few, quite a few. NSPCC, Guide Dogs for the Blind. What else have I worked for? Amnesty International. I've worked for a lot. Every Child is it's an old charity. I've worked for a lot of charities, so I really appreciate this at the end. But let's talk about the video. It was funny. It was humorous, very German. She was poking fun at her country, saying she's not proud of certain aspects of Germany. Completely understand this. Completely, as a Brit, completely understand this. The amount of videos you can find online just like this about Britain from a British person talking about why they're not proud of Britain, there'll be tons of those. I feel like a lot of the issues Germany faces, Britain is facing those exact same issues. Even down to the fact that she's talking about fiber optic internet and the internet situation, and the UK and privatization of the trains, but in a different sense to ours, because ours are actually privatized and fragmented by different companies, whereas yours privatized and owned by your government, and is facing its own issues with investment in your train services and delayed trains. It's really weird because ours are also privatized by different companies, and we're also facing issues with delayed trains and strikes and bad service. I don't know, we're dealing with similar things. The internet thing, thank God we got that right. We got that right. That's the only thing we got right. But we got so much in common, and we have the pessimistic view of our countries in common, the negative views of our countries in common, which is not great. I hope that changes. I hope that changes, but I don't know if it will, because of that post-war traumatic experience that people have had and have passed down generations, to kind of look at things through kind of a negative lens. Maybe it will die out. I mean, the war generation are now either very old or already have passed on. So maybe in the next 10 years, that might change. I hope so. Maybe with the advent of AI, maybe that will change things. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Until the next one, I will see you very soon.